questions about
If one part's about Yeezys, I'm waiting.
With Dieter, do we know if he'll be ready for the regular season, or is it a long-term thing? And then my second question, one thing we don't yet know about you as a head coach, and we saw something last night that made me think of this. You're probably aware Preston Williams tweeted, "Just want an opportunity," shaking my head. When a player who wants more chances in practice does something like that, do you say something to the player? Do you let it slide? Do you throw him more passes? Do you bake him a cake? What's your reaction in general when a guy does something like that?
Wait, so those are two separate questions, right?
So I'm going to pay more in the piggy bank when I...
All right, so can we go back to the first question? Okay, here. To best organize this efficiently, you have two questions. First question.
Excellent. Michael Dieter, is he out long term, or will he be ready?
No, don't see it as don't have concern right now with the information that we have about the regular season. So we'll just let the week play out and see where he's at the beginning of next week. Next question was
on Preston with his tweet about just want an opportunity. What's your philosophy as a head coach? Do you say something to him and say this is not a good idea, or do you just let it slide? And does it affect how many passes you throw him?
so okay. There are the most pressing needs of the football team. I don't necessarily see within social media, and you said. So I don't prioritize that necessarily. I do, however, prioritize prioritize opportunities for players to follow their dreams. So and one of the things that Wes Welker and I strongly connect on from our journeys, which were the exact same. We were the same athlete, by the way. Is that we hold with a lot of esteem and responsibility preparing people and giving them opportunities, and it's also the really look at it to the players too, that they understand that every time they're on the field, the way we do things, it's a tremendous opportunity for them as well as their teammates who they're depending on to execute and operate at a high standard. So I wouldn't, people care, people want to do good. So I get that, and I don't really hold much weight to all of that.
Mike, there was a lot of talk around the league this weekend about guardian caps and the usefulness, and if they're so important, why don't we only wear them for a couple of weeks, or are they leading to bad habits? Do you have any stance on it? I mean, what do you see from the usage of them? Are guys using them the right way? Do you see the value? I guess just from the first.
Once things become mandate, I try not to let things occupy my brain space, whether or not it's the value of it. It makes sense. It makes sense to me in preparation why it became a mandate. So I don't really operate outside of that debate, just because that's kind of a wasted brain space for me and for the players. So it's rule. You're going to wear them, and so I don't really have a feeling pro or against because of that.
How is Izukama doing?
What was that?
Eric Izukama. How's he doing?
The rookie, the strife of a rookie in the National Football League is so often underestimated and understated. And you have to realize that the grown men who have been playing NFL seasons for an extended period of time that have been making a living for their family, and doing so within the confines of a certain scheme. That is a lot of ground to make up when you enter the league as a rookie. So I'll start by saying all players really, by and large, the biggest thing is getting better all the time. You're not staying stagnant, and it's not if but when you make mistakes, how do you correct them? Rookies especially, I try not to get ahead of myself and look at, well, he can do X, Y, or Z in a month when the regular season starts. It's specifically, and it's no more truer than for rookies, are they improving on things? Are they making the same mistake twice? That's one exciting thing about Eric, is that he is learning a completely new language at a different speed and tempo. The rookie trials are hilarious. I don't know why it's not talked about more, but like the speed of the game, the pass rush, you don't have that much time to the quarterback doesn't have that much time to operate in the NFL game. And 9 times out of 10, every rookie receiver that starts minicamp every single year lines up like 4 yards off the ball when they're off the ball. And it's like, that shows you how far they have to come. And so it is a tough thing to accomplish, to be able to in a short period of time. But I've been very encouraged with how he's handled himself and corrected things. And the mistakes are changing. They're not the same ones, and that's what you want. So I'm happy about that.
How much does that give you? How much does that give you a real sense of the running games with more physical blocking approach?
So pads is obviously a big deal. It's a big part of football. But one thing that I stressed to the team this offseason, that I think is I truly believe is that if you practice the right way without pads, it's less significant when they come on. That doesn't mean they're not significant. It minimizes how significant it is. So, and I'm very happy with how we practice without pads, because we deliberately approach it as though we would have it. You put yourself in position to either block or tackle. Obviously, it's not the same, and you can't deliver on the force as much. So it is a very valuable thing. I would have been disappointed if I would have really been eager for the pads to come on. Like, wow, we really can get a look at this. I would have been disappointed. I'm not. The players have really owned how they've practiced without pads, so I'm excited. But it's just another step in the process. There are some valuable, run game trench stuff that comes from the backs being able to brace contact. That's super valuable. And so yes, it does help evaluate the run game from blocking and stuff. I don't expect it to change drastically because of the way that we've approached and attacked technique on both sides of the ball.
Mike, yesterday when we were talking with Raekwon Davis, he was mentioning how much better he feels having slimmed down with his quickness and so forth. I'm wondering what you see from him in that regard. And also, last week Austin Jackson was saying some of the same things. Were there many players who were asked to slim down for this training camp?
It was kind of a concerted effort by the coaching staff, both starting with Frank Smith and Josh Boyer, but trickling down to each and every position coach and their assistants. That the idea is to show them a vision of what we want to be, and on both of those, on both sides of the ball, in both retrospects, it behooves a player to be at their maximum athleticism, their maximum explosion, their maximum speed with flexibility, all of those things. So we did a good job in the off season, kind of really painting that picture for them. And it's to the players' credit they've said, you know what, I'm all into this. I'm all in for this. My career does mean something to me, and I don't want to have regrets after my career saying, you know, what if I was X, Y, or Z? So that's the thing, that it wasn't like a straight mandate, you have to go and be this, that, or whatever. It was kind of a play on, you know, my firm belief that players, just like coaches, just like people, they want to be their best. So if you show them without a shadow of a doubt that X gets them to that spot, if they're the right type of people that you want to have on the team, they will respond and get to that point that best fits their physical prowess.
Weekend, the team announced the ways it was going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the undefeated 1972 team, and obviously Larry Zonko spoke to you guys. I was just curious, as you kind of were growing up in the game, just what did you know about the 1972 team, and now that you're a member of the organization, what have you learned about that team?
Well, I remember vividly 11 years before I was in the womb. And no, I mean, who doesn't? You're talking every single year of my life, like clockwork. Chris Berman, ESPN, graphics with, you know, they evolved over time, but the champagne bottles pop. You know, it's kind of in the narrative because of that. And that's what's unique about that team, is that it carries annual credence when everyone fails to duplicate what they did. So I think it also goes to show that particular team. One thing that I think is something that each and every player in the league and every team, specific, you know, but most importantly, this team understands is what one year and one team can do, the ramifications that can have for the rest of your life. That's the thing that's really overwhelming to me, is these people are bonded forever. You know, I was talking to Larry about some of his nonverbal communication with some of the people that he played with on that team, how that's still present today. You know, it's like the wife look, like, or whatever. You know, you can talk without talking, and how powerful and cool is that, to ever be present in the moment in your life, knowing that it's going to have residuals for the rest of it. So I think that's, you know, it's something that we should be proud of as a team, that you understand, and proud to be coaching this team when we're celebrating it, and to be able to be connected with them in one way, shape, or form is a privilege to us that we do not take lightly.
I'm not to insinuate that you were alive during that time, by the way. Just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I've been aging all right, but...
Along those lines, did you ever cross paths with Coach Shula?
I did not, unfortunately, no. Obviously, I wish I would have. That would have been an honor. But I was really, there's a lot of years that I was a Broncos fan. I was like, wow, they're better than us. There was a lot of years that was occurring, but no, I unfortunately did not.
Tyreek said earlier that him and Jalen are the fastest duo in the NFL. First of all, obviously that's seen as a luxury, having that much speed, but can you talk, is there any difficulties in scheming that up, having that much speed on the field?
It's kind of like the difficulties the guy who has 3 yachts has deciding which yacht to pick. Like, no, it's not. There's no difficulties with that. It's very desirable, very fortunate, and you know, I think competitive players that you know are willing to go out and say, yeah, we're the fastest in the league. Those are guys that are competitive, that are willing and want to prove it, and you, regardless of skill set, you have players like that on your team, you feel pretty good about it. So I wouldn't. There's no. You don't need to shed a tear for our problems with our speed decisions, but to me, I think they talk about they talk about their speed a lot, which is cool, but they're also fast football players that block, that do the things that teammates need to do when they're called upon to be a fast electric decoy. They do that. I think that they're not fast guys, they're fast football players, and that's the coolest part about them, and why we don't really have issues.
Tyreek,
What's that?
do you agree that they're the fastest duo in NFL history?
I agree that I'm excited to see them prove one way or the other that being the case. I'm definitely not going to say that they're not, but I'm definitely not going to say they are either. That's for them to prove, which they know and they're excited about, but that's for them to prove on Sundays.
Fastest
What
player.
was your reaction to his bomb hitting Zach?
Tyreek's?
To an attack?
What was my reaction? Or my reaction was they did exactly what I told them to do. It was that's not the first time, nor will be the last that they'll connect like that. I was pumped because the exciting part to me was that Tua did it at the appropriate time. He wasn't just throwing a long ball. He read the defense, and that's what he felt, and he did it with conviction. If you guys watch it, he did it in one-hitch timing, which is kind of how we want the quarterback to do it. But the reaction was, what's the next play? Because, there's if I think everyone would be disappointed if we were satisfied with that that's what we're supposed to do when it's there, and let's go execute the next play.
What is the fastest timed speed in training camp so far?
It is. It's funny because every time that Tyreek isn't the fastest guy on the practice field, I make a huge deal, with the team. I build it up like, Tyreek, congratulations, man! You've been working so hard. You got third. We're all so happy for you. And it's like he gets, but I did it enough where it pushed him to Tyreek entered into the 23s, which is you don't really see that often in practice, and he all this speed talk is just making him go faster. So write what you will.
You talk a lot about how you see your job as, maximizing the dreams of everyone in the building. You're in the building too. I'm curious, what conditions do you feel help you to best maximize your dreams?
Honestly, I don't talk about it much, but the people that hired me, talking about the owner Steve Ross, Chris Greer, Brandon Shore, Tom Garfinkel, and this atmosphere with everyone in this building provided the perfect atmosphere for me to be who I was. It's what kind of it was described to me they kind of needed, and they knew when they were hiring me that they were hiring me and not some version copycat of somebody else. So I think this place, more so than I've ever felt really in my career, I feel most at home, most myself, and which is for anyone, kind of speaks to the type of culture we're hoping to perpetuate, is that there's an attachment to that, and there's a feeling that you can be your best self and get the most out of you in those type of situations.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you personally, going from offensive coordinator to head coach at training camp?
I mean, there's been no adjustment. The biggest adjustment, it's, I'm very conscientious of the people that I don't get to have heavy discourse with on a day-to-day basis, but who still their days are affected by how I treat them. So as an offensive coordinator, I think you can get a little more cerebral and focused and introverted with conceptual things, football X's and O's. And as a head coach, I think it's very important that you don't lose yourself within yourself in that way, because somebody passes your office in the hallway, and you are thinking about something, you just give them a little nod. That's out of character of how you usually address them, and now you've just negatively impacted their day for the rest of it, which isn't. I mean, that's not me doing a good job. My job is to maximize, not to ever inhibit. So that is a change. I've witnessed it. I've been fortunate to see a lot of people do that at a high level and have been on the other end of it. So, but it is something that I have to be mindful of every day. Otherwise, I'll be mad at myself, and none of us want that.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.